Hello, Kansas and Western fans. Today we're going to do a poll results and work plan video for the next 2 weeks. And as you can see here, as of the shooting of this video, the train wreck diorama has barely eked out a win against track weathering and ballast, which led pretty much the whole weekend. So wasn't sure how that was going to turn out when I woke up today. And there you have it. And I think there were a couple of comments, a couple of them personally to me at the Benton RPM this weekend, that were voting for the train wreck diorama. And my participation in that event went fairly well. I got a lot of nice comments, both on the diorama's progress, at least, since it still has a ways to go, but also about my channel. So I appreciate all those folks who stopped by to say some nice things. And I got a lot of good constructive feedback. So I feel like I have a much better idea moving forward now. And we're going to cut over here to this video a second and show you what I'm talking about.
All right, here we are at the diorama set up in a room adjacent to my train room, just where I have some space to work. Several things I've made decisions on as a result of the show. First of all, I think I've decided on my cast of characters, as it were, in terms of rolling stock that will be participating. Some of it permanent, some of it can be changed out in case I decide to flesh out the derailment into further disaster. I'm not sure. But there's really only going to be four, maybe five cars that are actually going to be affected by the derailment. And the first one is going to be this coil car. Since it's the heaviest, it's actually going to cause the rails to leave the bed, and then cause the rest of them to leave the rails. So it's going to be the coil car, followed by this sulfuric acid car or tank car that's going to contain sulfuric acid. It's going to get punctured by a rail and then end up leaking some contents into the river. And then that's going to be followed up by this center beam flat car, which is going to have a partial wrapped load and a partial loose load, as if it had already been partially unloaded. I'm not sure if that's a thing, so if somebody knows that, you can let me know. But I think I've seen some of these traveling the rails where they're not completely loaded. Now, they'll be loaded evenly on each side so it doesn't tip over, but they won't necessarily have a full load top to bottom. And if that's not a thing, partial loads, then not a big deal. I know I've seen loads that aren't always wrapped. And honestly, if a car tips over, it may not matter if it's wrapped. It might just spill off anyway. So I need to find some scale lumber loads to add to that car. And then finally, the one that's going to be majorly affected is this grain car. It's going to be filled with either wheat or corn. I haven't decided yet. I need to figure out what I'm going to use material-wise to represent that. Had a nice show participant yesterday help me to, actually he did all the work, pry off one of these lids, these covers, so it would reveal the contents inside. It's going to be a tipped over car, so we're saying that the weight of the grain inside is forcing this cover off at least, or maybe it didn't get battened down quite all the way, so it wasn't that much trouble. But that way we can have some grain load spill off the car there. And then the rest will be, I think one of these grain cars will be partially derailed but still upright, and then the other two will still be on the tracks. Obviously, it's a slow-moving train wreck, so not all the cars will be leaving the tracks. So that's for the cast of characters. That's been decided. In terms of work plan, so in time for the show, I did manage to get all my trestles built, but several of them still need to be cut to fit. For the embankment, as you can see here, it rises up from the river, so we're going to have to trim some legs off to make those fit. I still have to get them painted, obviously. These are just the actual pieces glued together. I did get the end ones painted, and you can't really see those because they're painted a flat black, which did turn out a little bit glossy, which is fine because you figure these are creosote soaked to keep the bugs or the termites from destroying them. So I have those in place at least. I just have to finish the rest. And then, if you saw from my last video on Friday, I did start some ballast work. I do plan to finish weathering the track, but I'm going to finish adding this embankment all along the tracks here. I'm using this joint tape and joint compound to do just a basic surface there, subsurface, and I need to do that on the back side. The backdrop is removable, so you can see that paint gap there. It's just sitting in place for now because I want to turn this thing around. Right now it's backed up against a wall. I want to turn it around so I can finish weathering and doing some work on the other side, which is why I wanted to keep it removable so it'd be easier to do that. And so, yeah, I have to finish more embankment work here and there. And then in this area, I think I'm going to try to use strips of foam to the best of my ability, because it's going to be a lot easier just to do gouges in the ground where the cars derail and slide down the bank. It's going to be easier to do that in foam than it is to try to gouge hardened shell plaster. So I think that's going to be the best route to move forward there. And then down at this end, the tracks are so close to the bank that we're going to have to do some rock work here. And I can't remember the word right now because I'm good at forgetting words while I record video. But just some shoring up of the bank here with some rock. But I've got a lot of experience doing that with the Arkansas River on the layout, so not a problem there. So I think I can get most of that done here in the next couple of weeks. There is a train show coming up in Wichita in February that I do plan to attend for both days. Have this thing on display, so I'm excited to continue to work on this. I definitely want to get everything painted so there's no more exposed pink foam. I do have some ideas in mind for this flat area, and I'm thinking a farm field, thinking either corn or wheat stubble that's been partially disked under. So there's a lot of variation in the terrain here in the front, which also might grab some attention. But otherwise, I definitely want to get all just the basic work done so that it's got full color everywhere and looks quite a bit more complete. I did buy some trees. Actually, some of these I already had in my inventory, just to add some color to the scene that I basically ran along the background. And that is the ultimate plan, is to more or less blend the foreground into the background or the backdrop with just a lot of trees. So that's the plan for the next couple of weeks. Again, I appreciate everybody's input and voting to help me move forward with this diorama. And we'll see what I can get done here in the next couple of weeks. Thanks for voting. Thanks for participating with me this weekend, or visiting with me this weekend, or attending the RPM in Benton. And I guess that's it for now. So everybody have a great week. Thanks for watching.